If you've beaten Fallen Takumi's Grand Hero battle, then you might be wondering what you should do with him. In this video, we're going to cover what Fallen Takumi has to offer and discuss if he's worth spending some feathers on to get his 5-star form. Let's begin by looking at his 5-star stats and his base kit. At 5 stars level 40, Fallen Takumi will have 37 HP, 31 attack, 34 speed, 25 defense, and 24 resistance. At a glance, this isn't that bad of a distribution of stats. His 34 speed is what stands out, and is a great starting point for archers. 31 attack isn't anything groundbreaking, but he will do just fine, especially since he has a unique legendary weapon that grants a little extra might. Takumi's HP, defense, and resistance are all pretty average, and most archers in the game usually aren't this balanced. Most tend to either specialize in defense or resistance, and the other stat ends up being pretty low. Taking a quick detour, here's how he compares to some other archers. Funnily, Fallen Takumi has the exact same stats as Clarice, our other Grand Hero battle archer, however he has 4 more resistance, so technically he power creeps her stat-wise. I know a lot of people mostly want to know if he can beat Brave Lyn or Bride Cordelia, and I would have to say he does not dethrone either of them. Brave Lyn and Bride Cordelia both have better offensive stats, but do sacrifice their defenses. Even Innes has a better offensive stat line if you want a Brave Bull archer, but he has an even bigger difference between his defense and resistance. You can see that this Takumi sacrifices some power, but does have a much more balanced defensive stat line. This can be good or bad depending on how you want to play him. Back to Fallen Takumi's base kit, he has his own legendary weapon called Skadi, and this is a very unique weapon with a new effect we have yet to see in Fire Emblem Heroes. I will go over Skadi in more detail in just a bit. The rest of Takumi's base kit consists of Vengeance, Fury, and the rare Speed Smoke skill. He has Fury at 4 stars, but I really would not recommend sacrificing him just for that. Speed Smoke is a much rarer skill, and you will need a 5-star Takumi if you want to fodder it off to someone else. Overall, this kit actually works fairly well, and when we talk about builds, there are some very nice and simple options to make him fun to use. Skadi is an interesting weapon and has a new effect, so let's go over how it works. It has your standard 14 might and 2 range for a legendary bow, along with the same effectiveness against flyers. Skadi also grants an extra +3 speed, which is really nice for Takumi. Its main effect is a bit more confusing, however. At the start of turn 3, enemies within 3 vertical columns centered on Takumi will take 10 damage and will also be inflicted with the panic status, the same as being hit by panic ploy. On the diagram to the right, I have marked the area Skadi affects. Important things to note is that this effect will only happen one time in a battle at the start of turn 3. It can also stack with multiple Skadi weapons, and you can experience that for yourself just by doing the Takumi Grand Hero battle. I fully believe that someone out there is going to 5-star all 3 copies of Fallen Takumi and is going to use them to cheese 30 HP off of units on some Grand Hero battle or some special maps. I don't think that this is going to be super viable in Arena, but I could be wrong, so maybe don't get rid of all your Fallen Takumis just yet. Last thing to note is that from my testing, Skadi's damage won't aggro units to move toward you. This only applies to some PvE maps, but I have seen healers move to go heal their allies. This means you can wait till turn 3 to maybe move a healer closer to you, and then bait them to attack you. In my opinion, this ability is very interesting, but is by no means a huge game changer. It can be annoying, and yes, you can play around the 3-turn activation, but in terms of reliability and power, I don't think it's something you will start seeing in every arena match. Next on the list, I want to give you guys some ideas on how you could build Takumi if you wanted to. As mentioned, Fallen Takumi has a great base kit, and the main reason is because of Skadi's +3 speed and Fury 3. With both skills, Takumi sits at 40 speed, which is good enough to run Desperation. Fury and Desperation work well together because Takumi should be able to survive 1 round of combat, and then hopefully Fury drops him into Desperation range. Remember that Fury will boost Takumi's defense to 28 and resistance to 27, which aren't crazy high, but with 40 speed he should not be getting doubled often and will be able to tank 1 solid hit. That is pretty much the gist of this build. Super simple, works using his base kit, and highly customizable in the Sacred Seal slot. Vengeance is an okay special for this build, again due to Fury, but if you want some reliability, then Moonbow or Luna will serve better. Speed Smoke is nice to have, and with the Attack Smoke Sacred Seal, you can do some heavy debuffing. If you don't want Attack Smoke, then switch it up for something like Distant Defense, Quick Riposte, Brash Assault, or Savage Blow, which can synergize with Skadi's chip damage. Attack +3 or Speed +3 are also great options, and with Fury, Takumi can really benefit from either of those. I'm not going to list the standard Brave Bow build or even something like Guard Bow, but that doesn't mean I don't think Takumi couldn't run those builds. He has average stats all around, so technically I think he could make different builds work. If you want something fun, then this version of Takumi can easily run close counter, just like his original self. If you're a newer player, then you may not have gotten to see just how annoying close counter advantage Takumi was back in the good old days. Even to this day, I think it's a great 1v1 build. However, Fire Emblem Heroes is a team game and the focus has shifted from direct 1v1s to making sure the enemy can't retreat after combat by using assist skills. Close counter is a fun skill, but Takumi just isn't min-maxed enough to really make it work anymore. So should you promote Fallen Heroes Takumi to 5 stars? First off, I don't believe he will outperform the top tier archers we have today. There are better offensive archers who can use brave bows or fire sweep bows, and even a few tanky archers like Faye who would love a guard bow. I don't think Fallen Takumi is bad, he just falls in the category of too many stat points everywhere, so he isn't really a specialized master. I will give him credit for his decent bulk if he uses base kit. Skadi and Fury give him high speed, and the extra defense and resistance is also nice. Not many archers have a mixed defense and resistance stats. So as mentioned, Takumi has a great base kit, and Skadi is a very unique legendary weapon. If you're a fan of having different types of units, then Fallen Takumi definitely falls in that category. Skadi can open up a new book of tactics, and maybe even multiple Takumis could be a thing. My greatest issue with it is its range, and that is because some maps do not place enemies vertically to your team. There are a bunch of maps that have teams to the sides of the screen, and you won't always be able to line up the 3-turn chip damage proc. If you miss with this effect, Takumi basically has a silver bow plus with a speed refine. That being said, the Skadi and Fury combo is just a nice bag of stats, and you can just add desperation to his build to have a fun archer to use. For players who may want Fallen Takumi but don't have a ton of resources, you won't have to spend a lot of skill inheritance to make him usable. Finally, I think there is some merit to aesthetics in this game. A lot of players like to use their favorite characters from the series, and if you like Takumi, then this version of him is pretty amazing on the art side of things. Awesome looking artwork, great voice lines, and his sprite with Skadi is amazing. Overall, I would say Fallen Takumi can work just fine in a normal archer role. If you like him a lot, then his stats are pretty flexible, so he can run a Brave Bow build or a Slaying Bow or whatever you want. He may not be the best in class at each role, but he can fulfill them decently well. If you lack a decent archer, like Takumi a lot, or just want a unique weapon to play around with, then I would recommend 5-starring Fallen Takumi. That is going to be it for this video, and hopefully help you guys understand where Fallen Takumi stands among archers. I've personally 5-starred him because Skadi is a pretty interesting weapon, and I like how easy he is to build. Some Grand Hero battle units don't always have a nice base kit, so it's refreshing to get a unit that does not require a ton of investment to be usable. If you have any more questions regarding Fallen Takumi, leave them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. From my experience, my favorite aspect of him is that he can take a hit. Some of my offensive units are just a little too squishy, so I appreciate I can send them to take out a target and then he will be able to tank a hit from say a melee unit. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.